It's all about
Shit.
balance, isn't it? Balance and fucking moderation, you know? What the hell?
In
Everything.
most things, man. Yeah, and finding the correct balance for you. Shit. Episode 61. I'm Luke.
I'm Joe.
We're back at it, man. A little midweek episode to catch up because we missed the weekend. So we'll get a quick hitter in here and be back this weekend. So what's up, man? How are things going out there?
Things are doing pretty well out here, man. Like, I just actually got off the phone. My dad told me you guys are having some nice weather at 25 degrees or whatever it is today. It's pretty decent for him, he said. It's almost like
I hit
springtime.
that 15-degree run this morning, which I gotta be honest, I like running in the cold just because it changes it up. I wouldn't like to do it if it was all year round. Like, I'm not trying to go to Siberia and run marathons or anything like that. But yeah, it's intense, man. For me at least, it just makes a much shorter run feel like you did because it's so much harder to breathe. What I was thinking, man, I'm running up this hill that finishes the end of this little loop I like. Not a long run. It's like a little over 3 miles. And it's getting pretty difficult to breathe out my nose because it's all stuffed up. I've been running in 15 fucking degree weather. So I'm running, just trying to get, and I always try to, that's a helpful little thing for runners. Breathing through your nose as much as possible will totally change the game. Up your cardio like crazy. And just doing that in general. But that's another thing. So I'm breathing through my nose and it was getting all stuffed up. I'm like, shit, man, why the fuck would I need one of those elevation training masks? Like, just run out in the cold. It does it automatically, man. Because I bet I was getting, like, at best 30% of the air that I could normally suck in 15
So now,
degrees.
what are you running in for equipment? Like, what are you wearing on your feet when you're out there running?
So I got a pair of trail running shoes. So the brand's Brooks, I think. It's the only pair of shoe that I work out in, especially run, that does have a little bit of a heel, but it's very slight. Like I think, and I see this in a lot of running shoes. And as much as I'm an advocate of the totally flat shoes like the Vibes or Lems or whatever, having a tiny bit of a heel, it has like a 4mm rise. I see that in running shoes a lot because companies are smarting up. They know they don't want those fat ass Nike heels, like the big foam things. Like for actually functional exercise, that's garbage. But they'll still give it a little heel. So it has like a 4mm rise with some decent like round tread on it too. So I'm running on. So the loop I do is split between pavement and a dirt road. So it's still pretty slick, but like I'm not slipping much in just those kind of shoes, so it's not bad, man. I know some people, like I'm sure a lot of people out in Colorado who run mountains and get real crazy with it. They have pretty intense trail running shoes.
I've seen some pretty
spikes,
intense,
all sorts of shit.
Oh yeah, I mean bikes is like a huge one out here. It's like the biking central of fucking United States out here. I swear. I think it's one of the it's either it is the best or it's like second best in the country, cities to bike in. I mean, they're so bike friendly, it's ridiculous. I've seen some insane, especially mountain bikes, but unicycles, like mountain bike style unicycles, shocks on it and all, like,
man.
Dude, and they're like cruising up these hills that we're having a hard time fucking hiking up, pretty steep, and this dude's like leaning into it, just biking on that one wheel. It's pretty dope. See, man.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I saw a video like a few years back of some guy on a fucking unicycle hopping off cliffs and just doing all sorts of wild shit, just like a mountain bike would. So,
dude, riding on 2x4s. Out here, because they got the 2x4s set up in the woods, like in some places. Dude, there's a unicycle on the fucking 2x, jumping off of that shit. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around it, man.
I've been saying it for a while, man. Anything you can push the boundaries with now, especially in terms of like sports and athletic type shit, people are going for now. With like skydiving, mountain climbing, biking, whatever. And you're definitely right. That whole area is like a hub for, I know for triathletes in general, and I got to think that's a lot of it is because of the hills and the elevation. It's just such a good training ground for them. But it does seem like you just get a lot of fitness junkies, and leaning towards that side of things, but you got the Olympic Training Center right out where you are too. It's definitely got that thing going on in the whole area, but I think
definitely want to be training at the 6,300 feet. That makes a big difference. I didn't realize how big of a difference it made until I just was messing around back home. I didn't get to do much, but people told me I was gonna feel like Superman, and dude, it's just so much easier to breathe. You could get different too. I don't know what it would be called, but I got myself breathing pretty good. I was doing burpees and push-ups and stuff, and I was hammering away Tabata, and I was trying to take a deep breath in like I would out here, and I almost choked on the air because of how much I took in. Out here, I was looking for my chest full, and man, when I went back home, it was rugged. It was definitely different.
Yeah, man, so unfortunately, that will only last a couple days, I think maybe a week at most before you acclimate the same way, right when you go out to elevation, you're going to be a little depressed, your capacity will be down a little.
Tired and shit.
Obviously, some people think it's better to train at elevation. The latest theory, which I think is hilarious just because I don't know who the fuck's going to do this, but Rogan likes to bring it up a lot, is that you would train low, so at a low elevation near sea level, so you could work as hard as you could, and then sleep at a high elevation. So very few people are probably up on the mountain and going down to train. But what some guys do, I know the dude who took over the Tour de France, the championship after Lance got busted, and then he got busted too, unfortunately. For he was on the same team, all the same shit. The guy's name's Floyd Landis. But what he would do is he would train normally, living at a normal elevation, and then sleep in one of those oxygen chambers that simulates the higher altitude. So if you were a crazy professional athlete, that would probably be the most practical way to do that. But I don't know, man. I've been talking about this shit for years now. I want to try training at elevation just to try it, man. See if it's harder or whatever. See how long it takes to adjust.
One thing I guess I never went into is just out there alone. I know Vermont doesn't have very much elevation. Highest points in Vermont is 4,200 feet, and Saxon River, my dad's house is up on a mountain, is only 570 feet above sea level. Yeah. So it's pretty shallow over there. But I tried the best I could to train my elevation, just because when I moved here, I didn't want to have the super dryness. I was real tired and stuff. I came here and visited probably a little over a year ago now, and it was a little rugged for me. Alicia, she didn't have as much, but her cousin really paid the price. She was exhausted. She had a headache, migraine, which some people do with the elevation change. So I just decided that I was going to do as much elevation training, get my lungs opened up, doing those deep belly breathings, and it really made a huge difference. It was like night and day from when I came here and visited. Granted, I did drive in, but you gain a lot of elevation from Kansas to here, Colorado Springs. I don't know whereabouts it is. Maybe about mid Kansas, you start cruising up, but it feels like an uphill, consistent ride the whole way. So I don't know if that helped out on the acclimation part, getting into it, but you could do some just that deep belly breathing really helped me get acclimated real quick. It was definitely different for sure.
That's what I've heard on a couple podcasts and shit, that's the most effective thing, doing stuff probably Wim Hof's breath technique, things like that. And I think a lot of it comes down to breath holds and just being able to tolerate lower levels of oxygen, which anyone who does any kind of cardio training know that's what happens when you do cardio, especially some intense shit. So I'm sure there's a best way to go about it, add it into your workouts. One thing I've seen is doing small breath holds while you're walking or running. That shit would probably help. But either way, I believe the fitter you are, the easier you're going to transition from that. Because I've heard more than once people who don't work out at all, just aren't in that great of physical shape, go somewhere like Denver and be it wiped me out. And I'm like, well, shit, going on a light jog would wipe you out too. So it's, I think whatever it is, just being in better shape is going to help you out on that side of things. Yeah, we got
Definitely. So any news on your move?
No, unfortunately I haven't found a place to land yet. I've been bouncing back a fuckload of emails with people, but it's a little bit annoying to try to navigate that shift from across the country, obviously, because if I'm looking to rent a place, it would be a lot easier to go check it out in person. But I've seen some decent options, and I passed up on one when I was talking about. I think it was the last podcast we did, or maybe the one before. It was right before that. That was a decent option, but anything that comes up is gonna get snapped up quickly. So I bet it'll be a quick process. Like, I find something that I like and go with it, and I'll have that shit logged up in a day or two. So I would love to get something rented for February, but we'll see, man. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely take your time on it. Like you said, you don't have a timeline or nothing, so there's no pressure, which is decent.
No, not at all. I'd like to be there as soon as possible, just to get everything rolling and start getting my shit set up. But that it's gonna be a quick decision when I do find something. I'm looking for an apartment online from across the country, so
it's a little
tough. What it is. Yeah,
I totally know what it's like, man. But I definitely know that excitement. Like, you kind of want to get that. Like, you already could see yourself out here. You're already like mentally out here, but you just have to get that physical. You know, like, that's literally, I had almost the last month or so before I moved out here, it was getting tough for me. It was really getting tough. I was almost like, I'm so invested and already so far gone that it was very hard to be in my present when I wanted to be there, so, you know, here so bad. It was definitely my mindset. Like, it was a little different situation for sure. Me and you, I had a long time planning and stuff, and you know, it was a little more emotional and everything, but it definitely is. It definitely was a little hard for sure. You know, to hold myself back and be present and not already be here. I have to say that was a fight for me and my relatives, and actually doing work and shit, because I just wanted to focus on my, you know, where am I gonna work there? You know, what am I gonna do? You know, like you're trying to figure out find a place, you know, find a job. Gym.
Exactly, and that's the only reason I'd like to be out there sooner rather than later, is just to start get stuff like a job locked up and all that. But honestly, man, since high school, I think I've moved 4 or maybe 5 times around a few different places, and I think moving's like anything. It definitely gets easier each time you do it. But also, I've just had, like, since I graduated high school, I haven't felt like staying in one place for that long. So coming back here to our little ass hometown, really a little over 3 years since I was living in Pittsburgh before this. This has been the longest I've stayed for one chunk of time since high school, and I wasn't really trying to. It just ended up this way. So a move was on the horizon. That's what I'm saying for a while. So yeah, I'd be ready to move whenever. And honestly, and this is what I've been saying to all my friends and family who are asking me, like, what I'm trying to do out there, what I'm trying to go. I'm like, I'm just trying to go experience it, see what Colorado's like. I'm fucking 26. I'm not looking for somewhere to settle down. So
yeah,
I have zero pressures on me. I could go there, check it out, stay for as long as I want, or go somewhere else soon. So I personally feel very comfortable in the move. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it makes sense to me, and I don't have any timeline that I have to be out there by, and that I have to stay till. So honestly, I feel like I'm pretty lucky in that sense, because a lot of people, especially older than us, but in our age too, and they're in their 20s, have shit that might be tying them to different areas for different things, jobs, family, all that. So yeah, I'm doing all right, man.
Hey, man, I wanted to go ahead. Do you have something? Go for it.
No, go for it.
As I say, I wanted to switch gears a little bit here. I wanted to get in a little bit about the GMV, what's going on with us. I'm getting pretty excited about it, honestly. Since you told me you're going to move out here, man, I've been getting pretty amped up. I don't know why. I just have a good feeling. The word's been getting out there a little bit more, especially with like my jiu-jitsu studio here, sharing it with the guys, some of the hot shots and stuff. We got some good feedback. You know, we really like GMV in a nutshell, raw and reckless, man. Raw and reckless. Love that.
Yeah, Yeah, we're doing all right, and you got us on YouTube, so
Yeah, we're
props
up
for
on
that.
YouTube.
That's great. We've been
Yeah.
meaning to do that for a while, so thanks for getting on that shit. And
It was
man,
easier than
the
I
way,
thought, man. I like, for
yeah,
some
I've never
reason.
uploaded anything to YouTube, so how what'd you have to do? Was it just make an account and set
Yeah,
that shit
like,
up, or what?
honestly, now I have a couple accounts going. I got one for the Better Me LLC. I got little videos going up there and tips and shit, which we could do as well. You know, when you're here and stuff, we could just throw stuff up or whatever. But yeah, you just have to make a channel, and then you just go to upload. The only thing that's difficult for us, I mean, videos are real simple. You shoot a video with your phone or whatever, you just download it, and then you can upload it on YouTube. Bam, it's on there. But to take us from the MP3 and change it over to MP4 with our picture on there and all that fancy shit, it took me a minute. Never done anything like that in my life. I'm not really computer-oriented, but lately I have been getting
You're
right
getting
into
on board
it.
fast, man.
Dude, real
and that's-
fast. Yeah, Alicia's even like, she's like, look at this, you're like a computer geek. I'm over here, like, got all this shit going on. I got things written down where it was, because that's one of the things I have a hard time with, because I'm so used to the computers, is, like, mapping out where I started. You know, I'll get so deep into something, I'll be like, fuck, like, how the hell do I redo this again, you know? So the first two were pretty hard, but I got it down now. It goes up pretty easy, and they're nice and clean, man. Like, I really like the sound, honestly. I know I talked to you about, there was a program I was going to use, the converter there. It cost about $50. It was $100. It was on sale for $50. But then you said something about getting one free, and I found one, and it works out real well. It's not set up as easy, but dude, we're doing it all for free, man. So like,
Dude,
anybody can do this.
Yeah, I almost
You know,
always
if you
find,
have a
like,
drive and you want to get some info out there, you have a good friend, you fucking go out there and you just start doing it.
You know, that's one of the many beautiful things about the internet. Yeah, you can get super low cost way to put almost whatever you want out there. Like, you're a musician, you can throw your music up, and there's people that blow, like YouTube. Everyone knows about that. There's people who blow up as musicians just off SoundCloud.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know shit about that. Like, I've never gotten music off SoundCloud. I have one friend who puts his stuff on there, so I've listened to his off, but I've never used it besides that and putting our podcasts on, and we're using it as a hosting platform for our shit. So there's just so many outlets, man. So that's great. But back to the Better Me real quick. I was trying to search that on YouTube and I couldn't find it. What'd you use? What's the name of the channel?
Do you it's LLC? Do you put LLC? I mean, it should come up Better Me. I don't know. I got to get down. That's the one thing that I'm a little fucky with, is the hashtags. I'm not sure exactly. Like, I'm getting into it, you know.
I'm with you on that, man. I don't understand how they work. Like, hashtags are pretty straightforward on, say, like Instagram, but then I don't use, like, a lot of people they use fucking everything. They're using Twitter, Snapchat, all of it. I don't know how all the hashtags translate to, like, SoundCloud has a place for hashtags too. When I upload the podcast, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to put in there, so sometimes I hashtag it with a few things, sometimes I just say fuck it and leave that, because I don't know if it's doing pretty good. But either way, man, we'll get there, hashtags or not.
One day.
A funny one, man, because when all this social media shit started, and this is why, we have, and you just broke it down right there, we have a very unique perspective, because this whole computer thing popped off in our lifetimes. Like, I was born in 91.
Yeah,
so you were were you in the 80s or were you in 90?
89. I'm 89.
Yeah, so right around there, and the internet, I think it got invented in the late 80s technically. I'd have to check on that, but it really started to go like mid-90s. So as little kids, like, the internet just started to really roll, and then it totally blew up. Everyone started getting cell phones when we were in high school, pretty much. Like, maybe a couple people in middle school had the track phones and shit, but then the cell phone thing really came through, and by the time we graduated high school, man, Facebook had hit, everyone had a smartphone. Like, it was
nuts.
Totally different game. Yeah, so that's kind of wild. And you just, what I want to point out with your experience, because you didn't fuck with social media or have your own computer till after that, because you didn't fuck with computers. You had no need for them before that. So,
and I just saw it being a headache, for most people.
Yeah, and which it absolutely is, man. I bet that was a good decision. But what I want to point out is you learned how to use a computer effectively like nothing, in hardly any time at all, just by doing it, because it's really not that hard. And I know it's not too many people out there, but people still bitch about even like switching from a Windows to a Mac, or their iPhone to Android or whatever, like learning a new system. it's fucking easy. All right, if you're in, maybe I'll give it to the old people. Maybe it's harder for them. You grew up in a different generation, different era, all that. It might be harder, but it's really not that difficult. So
see, I feel like in a few years ago, like if you were to ask me about this computer shit about say 4 or 5 years ago, it'd be your mentality in it, you know, like it's a challenge, it's different, so therefore I'm gonna bitch about it. Or you can look at it as it's a challenge, it's different, let's fucking own this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's, even with older people, like, I clearly see it, like, they're like, oh, this is going to take time, this is going to take effort, this is different. Yeah. Like, that's good. That's good to fucking challenge yourself. That you need to
you just broke down all the good shit about it. Like, you thought you were saying a reason why you shouldn't do it, and you just listed all the reasons why you should.
It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, anything that challenges you, go for it. I mean, not just computers, of course, but everything. You just made it so relevant to me that that's literally what it is. I had a lady in the boot camp there. She was talking about her tablet. She's trying to get to the tablet because it's easier. She's mobile. She can run her business, whatever. But it's just bullshit. It's a pain in the ass. So what's different about it? It's like pretty much set up the same way as a fucking computer, just has no keys. You know what I mean? Like, she goes, oh, well, I'm not used to how I'm holding it and stuff. So she was literally prying excuses out of nowhere, only complaining that it was something different. Usually people are excited about something different, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, say that lady, I mean, she was all excited because it was a super new badass tablet, but she was like, just ignored, like, kind of irritated with it because it was different. And even though it was going to be easier for her and everything, she just had something to bring up. Like, that's unneeded energy, unneeded negative energy. I feel like it was almost like she just wanted to complain about it as, I mean, I'm going a little different with this, but wanted to complain about it just to have something to talk about. And that's not what we need. You know what I mean? We don't need...
I hate it, and we all do it, man. We've all been there. It's just a terrible habit to fill up time in a conversation with bitching. Like, you don't have anything to say, you just find something to complain about, whatever it is, the weather, your car, your job. That's such a terrible way to hold a conversation.
I think it's because we think we can relate with people better on the bitching aspect. When really, when you think about it, when you say something like, "Oh, it's a really nice day out" and stuff, watch somebody else's face when you say something positive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even saying, oh, like, nice, I didn't know this person, just barely met him, started talking to him. Oh, that's your car, really nice car. You know, out here, there's a lot of people that have fucking nice cars. They got some money going on. So when I see an older lady and I'm like, damn, that's a nice fucking Beamer or a Porsche or whatever they're pulling up in, you know, like, that, you could see the change on their face over me coming in and bitching about my truck fucking not starting or something the first time I tried starting it today. You know what I mean?
Obviously we're not talking about being critical of something that deserves you some criticism, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a terrible rainy day, for sure, have your minute to bitch about it, but it's exactly the example you brought up. When you make up reasons why you couldn't do something, that's really easy, like, say, learning how to use a tablet when you're already familiar with the computer. That really is just creating that negativity out of nowhere. It's not based in reality. It's not like, what I'm saying is it doesn't come from reason. You're not saying, like, oh shit, this has a whole new system, it looks totally different, I don't know the words, I don't know the language, whatever, anything that would be a legitimate reason why you couldn't learn it, even if it's still something you could work with. But you know what I mean, like an actual obstacle, that's fine. But if you make up a reason when there's none, you're just handicapping yourself, man.
And you're actually passing it on to everybody else. I mean, I can see it. I've been watching a lot of people lately, and just because I'm trying to learn people and shit and trying to make myself more valuable in a way, you know, I'm just learning from every single thing I see out here. And being in the boot camp, there's a lot of women and stuff, and I could see how they influence each other so much. I think guys do it too, just I haven't seen it. You know, I don't see it laid out in front of me, but I can, like, legitimately see the influence from a girl walking in with a mopey face or with a smile on, or like the conversation they had before the workout, like, and how that plays out in the workout. It's huge. It's fucking ridiculous how our words affect us so much, positive or negatively. And people should just, like, take that in and, like, for consideration, And, like, think about it. Like, why is it so hard for us to just be positive most of the time? Why is negative 70% of what we are? You know, it should be the other way around.
Negative shouldn't be the default. And what you started with on top of the words, I think, is a key part, man. Just like the facial expression and body language, too. Just, one, how you carry yourself, just decent posture. That basically just means stand up straight. That's it. Like, everyone's built a little different. We're shaped a little different. We can all stand up straight. You know, I mean, most of us, at least. Most of us just stand up straight. And the one little test I'll give to anyone, if they're actually curious, like if this is bullshit or not, if, say, positivity can really rub off like that, or the same way negativity can. This is such a simple little, it's mostly used as a sales trick, but we all do it in conversations too throughout the day. Go up to someone who's just in a normal mood, or even better, if they're a little down, like not like pissed off about something, you can just tell, maybe the person's bored or whatever. Go up and have a conversation with them with a big ass smile on your face. And by the end of the conversation, they'll be smiling too. Like, it almost always works. Just, it's infectious, man. Just a happy, positive attitude. So that's just a super easy little one that demonstrates it to you, like in a pretty black and white kind of way. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, the smiling definitely works. I always get, like, hints on that. You know, people yelling at me, nice talking to you. I really like how you smile. You got a good energy and stuff. But you know what the biggest thing is, and like I see this all over the place. It's really like the quality conversation we've talked about a lot, and it's not even just a quality conversation. People really start to like me out here, and I was trying to pay attention to why. Like, what the hell do I have going on? Mm-hmm. Why people are fucking, like, drawn towards me, and it's because I listen. Like, I'll like, literally sit there, take my time out of my day, and listen. Like, and it really started clicking to me, like, man, I'm getting, like, these people with these hard accents, you know, Indian, and coming right from Italy and stuff, so, like, it's hard to understand a lot of things. But these people like me so much because, unlike most, I give them a time, a day, and I'll try figuring it out with them. And I didn't even realize, this is just me being me, that I was doing this. But now that I'm knowing of it, and I'm actually engaging it a little bit more and paying attention to it, dude, it's making all the world's difference. I mean, I say very little, and I accomplish so much more. Like, I probably taken in a conversation with somebody, say it was almost 50-50 conversation, I'll be like down to 25, maybe even 15% of that conversation I said something. The rest of it was all them, and they just like. They love me. It's not even that they start really liking me. It's that they enjoy the fact that they are able to talk, and they were able to, like, I've seen people that I don't even know actually go through a whole process talking to me where they were irritated, frustrated, and then they were happy and everything was good. It was like, holy shit, like I don't even know you, and we like fixed this out. And just honestly, it was because they needed to voice it out. And I think people should practice that, man. Like, that should be something that should be spread out a little bit more, is just listening. Especially us Americans. Like, we have this way of where we need to get our voice out. We need to be heard. We're going to forget it almost if we don't say it right now, you know, always over each other. And I'm definitely a candidate of that. I'm guilty for sure. But I'm definitely trying to work on it. You know, listening also teaches you so much. I'm a guy that learns mostly from people's experiences and talking to them and actually experiencing it myself. I don't gather information the best from reading and stuff. We've gone over that, but listening, man, it's a huge key. It'll get you so far in life.
That's
especially
good advice, man. It's a lost art. That makes me think, man. There was a book I read a while back that wasn't the kind of shit I would normally read at all. And this happens to me more and more commonly since I've been so hooked on podcasts. I heard the author interviewed on a podcast I like, and then I'm like, oh, that sounded interesting. And she gave a good background on it, like legitimate stuff about why she wrote it. Fuck it, I'll buy the book and read it. And it was just all about, it was a good kind of a book if you're into a lot of networking and stuff like that. But a lot of stuff about body language and communication, and one of the little tests she went through, just for that exact reason you broke down, all the benefits of listening in a face-to-face conversation, which is unfortunately rare, and she went dead silent. I think it was just for a day, but it might have been a couple days, and just as like a pure exercise, and you could tell, like I said, I heard this lady in an interview, she definitely likes to talk, so it was probably extra helpful for her.
Yeah.
But completely silent, and she still went to her networking events and stuff, and obviously I think she had it on her phone or a little note or something. It was like, I'm doing an exercise, so like she's not just gonna sit there and pretend she can't talk. That would be more annoying than useful. But so she had her little note or whatever that explained it to people. But then she would still just sit there and listen. And she said she actually made a few legitimate like business contacts by doing that, by not talking at all, just listening to their shit. And
dude, I don't doubt it.
Actually, like continued to work with. So, yeah, I thought that was funny, and it just made me think of it, man. But you're dead on. Like Rogan, this is another one he brings up frequently. Too often in conversation, you're just waiting to get in and say something, not listening to what the other person says, like thinking about it and then responding, just wait. And now, as soon as you hear that and you start to notice it in conversation, man, it's frustrating as fuck, because you'd be saying something to someone and you can see they're not listening at all, just waiting to jump in, like they're preloaded, man, like shit to throw in, and you can tell because if you keep talking and then let them get it out, they'll say something that was about like what you were talking about a minute or two ago. You know what I mean? It's like you weren't here at all, man. And you said we're talking about things that we're all guilty of for sure. Like I wouldn't do that at all. But when I was younger, high school and shit, I would space out a lot, man. Especially in like school, shit like that. Whoever's talking to me, teacher, someone have to work on some dumb shit. I'm not listening at all. It wasn't because I was about to respond with something that like I just wasn't interested. So that's another thing. I think a lot of kids do that personally. Like I know I was pretty bad with it, but yeah, man. When either way, whatever the reason is, just listening and actually like taking in the info and processing it really helps stimulate a conversation in a positive way. So yeah,
and you never know what you're gonna get out of it, man. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get out of it listening to somebody, you know, all the way to the end, too, like you said. Like, don't be cutting people off because you're holding on to that thought. Like, that's... And I'm the candidate on the other side where I'm guilty of always jumping in, you know, because for one thing, I have that short-term memory.
That, man. I don't think it's that bad to jump into a conversation. I know I did it to you right then. That wasn't on purpose, I promise. But I don't think it's bad to interject if it's relevant. I think it's fucked up if you wait, not paying attention at all, just to say what you were going to say anyway, instead of listening to what's going on. So, like, of course, you can cut people off a lot. Like you said, you tend to do it, but I don't think you do it in a bad way. You usually do it when it's relevant to the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, you have an interjection or another direction to take it or something. So, yeah, it's a balance for sure, man. Right.
It's all about balance, isn't it? Balance and fucking moderation, you know? What the hell? Everything.
In most things, man. Yeah, and finding the correct balance for you. Shit. But speaking of balance, we were talking about this a while back, man. I just finished my kombucha right here. And as we said, you don't want to drink too many of these. They're healthy as fuck. Just you don't want to be pounding like 2 or 3 a day. That could be too many.
Guilty, fucking guilty.
Yeah. It is what it is. They're tasty when you're not drinking anything else but water. But shit, man, I have this one here. It's the brand's Kavita, and that's
is it the tart cherry?
It's not the cherry one. That is good though. But the reason I like it's not my favorite straight up kombucha because there's a fuckload of brands out there, man. So honestly, the only difference I go by is how much sugar it has and how much it tastes, like what flavors it has. So I like the GTS brand better. I just think it tastes better. But this one, I always go to if I'm looking for a little pick-me-up because they add caffeine from green coffee beans, so it ends up being like it's not a fuckload, just about 80 milligrams of caffeine per bottle. So that would be like a smaller cup of coffee, or maybe some real strong. It would have to be a strong ass cup of black tea or something like that. So just a little caffeine hit. And the other kombuchas, like, they're all based in a tea, green or black, but like the GTS or something. But I actually looked their shit up a while back. That has literally like 5 to 10 milligrams maybe of caffeine, so nothing significant. It's not going to actually give you an energy boost from that. So,
and that was more mellow anyways. Like those ones have a little like the fizzy. What the hell am I looking for? They're carbonated. So it has like it's almost like it has a pick me up feeling, when you're drinking it. Like that's honestly what I used to do. Like as I drank too much of it, as we all know. I was doing a couple a day. I would literally do one of those because it felt like it was picking me up throughout the day. Regardless of the caffeine.
Well, that was the caffeine,
just the way it tasted and stuff. And then I'd come home and have my like smooth blueberry GT, or mango. Like that stuff is like chill. That's how I felt. I don't know.
I hear you on that. No, that's a good flavor comparison. I hear you on that. But yeah, the other reason I want to show you this one here, though, it's root beer flavored, which is funny. That's why I grabbed it off the shelf, because root beer kombucha, it doesn't really taste like root beer, unfortunately, but it tastes very herbal. And said usually I'm buying shit, like I would look through it before I buy it, but I'm so familiar with this brand, I just saw the root beer flavor, so I'll try that one. Yeah, and it tasted so funny, immediately, you know me, man, I gotta flip to the ingredients to see what's in it. It has hella good shit in here. Listen to this shit, and you'll understand the breakdown. So all the normal kombucha stuff, the tea, sugar, all that, the cultures. Then it's got astragalus. That's one of those.
Hell yeah.
Great immune booster. Like full hippie shit. It's got some cinnamon. That's good for you in other kind of ways. Ashwagandha too. That's another one of those.
Hell yeah.
Pretty well known at this point. Heavy hitting herbs that's more, it like balances. Yeah, it's more like a relaxing kind of thing, and often adding herbs or mushrooms. Like if you listen to that dude Paul Stamets, the shroom expert on Rogan, he breaks down this kind of stuff. But balancing out something like caffeine with a more calm kind of herb, those are great combos, man. It's a lot. Honestly, it's a lot like hitting caffeine and weed. Like they're a good match. So
I still don't know where the root beer taste is coming from. I haven't heard any ingredients.
They got their natural root beer flavorings. Who knows what the fuck they use? It doesn't say. It doesn't say if.
I hate when it's not specific.
Yeah, it's just is what it is with our FDA labeling at this point. But the other one, I got those two would be enough for me. It also has sarsaparilla. I think that's how you say it. That's just another herb, but the only reason that shit caught my eyes because that's one of the ones I took for Lyme disease. So I know it has like good studied properties. It does a few different things. I won't get into the Lyme exactly, but it's like an antibacterial and an antifungal kind of thing. So another useful herb. So either way, props to this company Kavita. They're loading their shit with some seriously good quality ingredients, and this one's all organic too, man. Can't beat it. Like I was pumped to see that because I'm seeing it more and more. You pick up a drink like this, like a kombucha or whatever, and you're like, they're really like putting some work and some research. Like someone who knows their shit is behind this, like putting those ingredients in there because you don't put astragalus in a kombucha. You know what I mean? That's not, it's not like a throwaway ingredient that you just put in as a filler or a flavoring or something. Like someone at least had good intentions. Like, oh, this is an immune booster, whatever reason they had. I'm gonna throw it in there. So
I'm liking that.
Pumped to see that.
I'm liking that they're jumping into all that organic shit. Like you're just saying, like the companies are actually putting some effort, put some thought. But man, I've been like
it, man.
It seems like also it's going the other way with some shit just for those big ass Fortune 500 companies and stuff or whatever the fuck they are that are distributing our food are just putting those marks on though because everybody's looking for them. Like that's one of my biggest things right now is actually helping people with labels, which just actually gave me a really good idea to do a class on fucking how to read labels, the understanding of what organic is. And
hold up, man, gotta interject there because I'm listening to my favorite fitness podcast the other day. Great info. The dude's name is Ben Greenfield. I brought it up tons of times on here, and I'll keep doing it just because I'm such a big fan of his info. Anyone into their health shit would like it. A lot of good exercise stuff too, but heavy on the health and diet. He had a question that he broke down like in a long part of one of his last podcasts. What would you do if you were teaching kids? What a teacher wrote in and asked him like, what are the most important health things you would put into a curriculum for children if you had to teach? I think it was like middle school age. It might have even been elementary. One of the first things he said, he's like, I would break down one whole section on nutrition labels, man. Just like you're saying, because that's
just the labels. Yeah,
the way we eat now. Even like one of your great recommendations you hit people with all the time is don't eat stuff in a bag or a box, but there's still going to be a lot of stuff like a kombucha. It's got a label on it. You know what I mean? You're going to be breaking down ingredients some way. So I couldn't agree more, man. I think that's one of the most important things that you can learn how to do, and it's not hard at all. Like, just get used to know the basic shit.
It becomes real easy.
A label.
I mean, honestly, if you can't recognize it and like you don't have like somewhat of a knowing of it, you shouldn't be eating it. You know, honestly, like that should go for everybody. Like I just can't believe I put that video up. I think I talked about it last time about the kids, you know, eating healthy and it starts them now and stuff. But I just can't believe nobody wants to understand what's in their fucking food. Like what you're putting in your system. What you eat becomes you. You know, like people don't realize that. Your fucking hair, the way you look, your blood, your attitude, all that comes from what you eat. How do you think all that develops? How do you think that all becomes?
Yeah, whatever someone wants, because we're all different in our at least short-term motivations like that. If you want to look better, getting on top of your diet will do that. If you want to be like more mentally clear and sharp, basically be smarter in your day-to-day stuff at your job and all that, getting on top of your diet can do that too. You want to be stronger, fitter, all that, it'll obviously play a role in that shit. You want to live longer,
depression,
get on top of your diet.
You want to get out of depression, man.
Yeah, another very good point. Yeah, it's super connected with your diet and your gut and all that. Depression, anxiety, and right back to what we were saying before. This is just a theory. I haven't seen anything like concrete on this. I'm pretty sure if you eat a diet that works well for you, you're going to be more positive in general and be able to spread that around.
Yeah.
To
hell
people
yeah.
you run into. And that I mean, just it's as simple as you feeling good. Like, shit, man. Maybe this is an extreme example, but we've all been around people on ecstasy, right? Super happy and positive, and they can't help but try to spread it around, even if you aren't on drugs and
trying to give shoulder massages.
Give you a fucking back rub or something. So that's someone who's super hyped on it. So think about just like a tiny bit of that.
Everybody needs a little bit of that in their coffee every morning, just a little bit, you know.
Dude,
no, but that's what we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something that will start the day in a positive way and snowball as it goes, man. But yo, real quick, back to the nutrition labels, because this is how easy it is. I'm just looking at my kombucha bottle right here. It's got the white square. That's what most people would look at if they don't really know how to read it. And that has the amount, the calories, and then it has these daily percentages. No one listened to those. That's retarded. It's about it's based off a 2,000 calorie diet. It makes no sense to look at that and say I got this much percent of my vitamin C or some bullshit. Because one, you don't need that exact amount of food that they averaged it out. You could be a 120-pound girl. You could be a 250-pound male, older, younger, anything. So that's irrelevant. Never look at the percentages. All you want to look at is the number of servings, you know how much is actually in it.
Yeah.
Then the total calories, then the totals for what's in it, how much fat, carbs, and protein. That's it. If you're really
Sugars.
on top of your shit, and you know, which will be right under the carbohydrate listing. And really the total carbs is basically going to be the total sugar in most things, if you really want to be simple about it, man. Someone who's really on top of their shit might look at a few vitamins, but they don't list a lot of the shit anyway. So in general, you don't have to look at any of that either. Just calories and the totals. That's it. And then in terms of what is actually in the thing, the ingredients list, and this is, I don't know how, it should say this right next to it, honestly, man, because I didn't know it for years until after I heard it explained somewhere. I couldn't even recall when. The ingredients list is in the order of how much it's in. So the largest ingredients in the first one. It's that simple. So you have some shit way at the bottom of the list that might not be a great ingredient, like something you don't want. I don't know, some gluten or dairy if you're not eating that and it's in it. It's at the very end of the list. It's probably such a small amount that it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Unless you're really sensitive to it. So you look at those three things: calories, totals on the macros, and the ingredient list. That's it. That's how you read a nutrition label. And unless you have other concerns,
you got it down,
it's that easy, man. So yeah, I think if say. Man, I know health classes are garbage, like in high school and stuff, but if you just had that worked in somewhere, just how to read that shit in some sort of curriculum, I wouldn't even do it in high school, man, in health class, that bullshit. I would put it, honestly, as early as, like, kindergarten or elementary school, man. Maybe
dude,
first,
little Bobby,
grade.
He's 6 years old. He knows that shit.
Exactly. He's first grade, second grade,
and it's not like I'm telling him, holding him down and saying, look at these fucking labels, this is how you're supposed to do it. Literally what he's doing is following my lead.
Just doing it by example. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. I mean, it's as simple as that, people. Like, You don't have to go way the fuck out of your way to, like, make everybody aware of this shit. You make you aware of this, and then you lead by example, everybody will become aware of it. It doesn't have to happen overnight, you know what I mean? It's a slow process. You just have to
understand, the shit's not set up so you can look at it right away, and what you're drawn to is what this info you actually want to pay attention to, because the default is to look at those percentages of, and like I said, that is just not relevant to really anyone who's looking at a nutrition label. So the way the FDA set it up, and I wouldn't say this is on purpose, it's probably just how it happened. This happens with like big government regulation like that all the time. They put in a system just really because it's easy to implement. Like, all right, this is a nice square that we can fit on all labels. That's how we're going to break it down and put it there, but it's not like easily consumable, you know what I mean, by the person actually buying the product. So, yeah, you
and usually
just,
there's so much, like you
know
just
the
said
basics
it.
And you're good.
I mean, you just said it. It's a plain white box too. You know what I mean? They put so much color and emphasis into the label. Who the fuck's gonna look at that? You know what I mean?
Like I said, if I was in a conspiracy theory kind of mood, like I would go down the rabbit hole. Like maybe they don't want people to read these fucking things. I don't think that's probably it, but who knows, man? Whatever the reason, it's not set up in the most organized way. And shit, man, I've seen labels from other countries too, and most of them, like even say you get something from the UK, from England. It'll have the same thing, just set up in a different way. It's not any easier. If anything, it's worse. So it's that's what makes me think is just kind of how it shakes up. When you have those giant, like I said, the giant factions of government overseeing things, it's hard to do it in the most efficient way, and that's understandable, even if it's not helpful in the long run. Man. Makes me think of, dude, they just had, Rogan did an episode with Eddie Wong, who's just an interesting, funny-ass Asian dude, who's, I don't know if you've heard him on there, he's been on a bunch, but...
I think I have,
guy.
A while ago,
he works with Vice a lot, like, he runs restaurants and shit, but he had a show on Vice for a while where he would travel around, like, I used to watch it, a few years back, it was a funny one, and I think he even ended up getting a show on TV. I've never seen it, but I'm pretty sure they did a show on him. Actually on cable, but either way, always interesting guy. But what he did was bring in some lady who worked at the FCC, and she broke down this whole net neutrality thing. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, man. It was a big deal because it was just another stupid fucking political headline they had coming up, and something that the recent administration did, which pissed a lot of people off, which is pull some laws that regulated how the internet worked, especially with big companies that like actually give you the service, like the cable companies, so your Verizon, Comcast, stuff like that. What it did was basically take restrictions off how they can regulate it, and as usual, man, half the camp is saying this is fucking terrible, it's going to ruin the internet. The other half is saying this is good, it's like necessary. So honestly, I heard that net neutrality keyword in the news a few times. I didn't pay attention to it. I had a vague idea what it was, but you just hear conflicting info like you do about so many things, and to me it wasn't something I was interested in enough to like worth going in and actually breaking down the whole picture. That's what's so great about having that long form podcast like Rogan. So this dude Eddie brought this lady in just to actually give like a clear perspective on it, and she definitely had her opinions on it, but she's actually on the ground floor working on that. She was at the hearing when this whole shit when it got voted out. So she's right in the trenches with this shit and can give like a very comprehensive review of what it actually is and why you might be for it or against it, which was fucking dope, man. Because, and I'm just speaking personally, the headlines did nothing for me. I might have read an article or two on it, did nothing. I still didn't really understand it. Honestly, it was like something big that went down. I wasn't up on it. Having her break it down and the questions that the Rogan and Eddie asked throughout it just did a killer job, man. So
I'll have to listen to that. For sure.
I appreciate that shit. Yeah, and I don't know, man. I don't have a strong opinion on it. Like I said, net neutrality is basically, if for anyone who's not familiar, there were laws in place so the internet providers, the companies you pay for your internet and cable, couldn't pick certain websites and slow them down. So say like the most common example is Netflix is using like 30% of the internet or some shit for all their streaming video. The company couldn't say, oh shit, you're going to get charged more for using Netflix, stuff like that. So it's just an economic argument. Like I said, that's why I don't really have a strong opinion on it, man. It's just whichever way you think it's going to go. And man, I'm fascinated by it.
It's not really an importance for an argument, honestly, with that. Like,
not for me,
it's just,
man.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. For us, it's not. I mean, for the people that got, like, skin in the game for sure. But like honestly,
yeah, those
overall,
companies and stockholders and shit like that, and that really, man, it does fascinate me. It's just like a weird interest I have. I took economics for my first 2 years of college, so that shit's gonna stick with me forever. When I see something, read an article or hear it on the news, whatever, I'm gonna look at it through that lens, through the shit I learned about economics and how it applies. But what you just said in terms of impact on my life, net neutrality doesn't mean fuck all. Like, it's got nothing to do with me. So it's like anything, any of the political issues, I'll look at it with a kind of a passive view. I am interested in it, especially like when it filters through. How I get most of my news, honestly, is through shows like Rogan's. Yeah. And when I hear someone do a really good job breaking down an issue, and like I said, I wasn't interested in that shit at all before. Heard about it, did not give a fuck, but now I at least know what the issue was. I have a much better understanding of it, and I think that's what he's doing, which is so great about that show, man. Just spreading quality info.
For sure, man. I mean, honestly, that's what we're hoping to do here too. We want to spread that quality.
You're trying, man. Yeah, in our own way.
I mean, hopefully we're gonna get better here in the future for sure. I wanted to touch on this real quick before I wrap it up. I got to get going, but we've had a few people, like I said, Raw and Reckless, they hotshot guys, and they said they really enjoyed it and shit, and so I really been getting, like I said, I got excited about it, and I talked to a couple people out here that have YouTube channels and stuff, so I got a Facebook started up, so if you feel free, check us out on Facebook. It's GMV, just GMV straight. It's actually uppercase G and then just MV. I couldn't change it. Facebook had some weird policy on there. For some reason, as soon as I went to delete it, couldn't do it. I don't know. Brand new with all that shit. So we'll have that all tuned up and updated here soon. But we got some shows on that, some episodes on that. And then definitely check us out on YouTube, man. Hit us up with some views. Let people know. We're trying to get it so we're just a little easier, to access. Not be so limited. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Share it.
Eventually, maybe we'll have some other shit to throw up on the YouTube channel too. We'll see where it goes. But either way, I think it's a great place because, like, I have a friend or two just listens to shows off YouTube. They don't have, for whatever reason, they don't use a podcast app like most of us do. So, yeah,
well, even like my dad. My dad's like, oh shit, I could just look you up on YouTube because for some reason, SoundCloud, all that shit's a little too confusing for him. Where the hell to get that stuff?
It's a generational thing, man.
Yeah, generational
thing. That I give him. I give it to the older generation. Yeah. Like I said, we grew up with this shit, man.
So yeah, no, he's like, oh, YouTube, I know that. Like we were saying before, everybody knows what fucking YouTube is. So yeah, real easy. You can either go Green Mountain Views, one word, Green Mountain, whatever it is. I hopefully got it tagged on there. So. Check it out, man.
Sweet, man. Yeah, and I just want to say that we truly appreciate those people that you just mentioned that are listening. So, yeah, anyone who hears our shit, that helps. So thank you to all those people.
Definitely like the reviews, too. I mean, even if they're negative, like positive views definitely are welcome. Negative views, hell, man, we got to learn, so...
Anything's welcome. Yeah, we would never discriminate in that way, man. So, no way. Anything and everything. And on that, we're out.